Alright, so welcome back to Silver Nuts Garage. We're getting back on the manifold that we took off. We had some intake leaks that were the size of softballs, which was a good thing. I'm looking for things that would create hard starting, and that's great. This will make it run better. So when I took the manifold off, and you remember the earlier video, we pressure tested it. This O-ring fits on like that, both sides. Takes up the small gap in between the intake manifold here and the cylinder head. And then you'll put some bigger clamps around that, and you'll squeeze this O-ring and seal it. Well, these pieces have been dropped a few times. The cylinder head is marred up a little bit, so I didn't know whether to go back to this and buy some new clamps because the clamps were shot, and go with O-rings or try something different. So I did a little bit of research, and I don't know if this is the cure-all, if this is good. I don't have any exposure or experience to this, and as you know, we don't have sponsors. We don't, we're just going to tell you what we're using. And if it works, great. You'll see it work. And if it doesn't, you'll see it not work. So this thing is called, hey buddy, this thing is called a tight seal kit. And it says Panhead, Ironhead, Shovelhead, custom clamp design, eliminates intake leaks. Improved sealing design, phenomenal. That's what we're looking for. So this is what it looks like, and that was from I think it was from Custom Cycle, maybe something like that. Part number 004466. So really, here's what it is. It's pretty cut and dry. It's some rubber cut pieces of tubing, 2 of them, 1 for each side. And we have 4 thin stainless steel bands. And what they want us to do is wipe everything down with acetone to get all the grease and oil and stuff off of it. And slide these onto the intake manifold far as you can, both sides, and then we'll fit this in to the cylinder head, pull this back out onto the cylinder head, try not to get my oily fingers on it again, and once that's on, we'll put these clamps, 1 for the intake manifold, will be like here, and 1 will go over here that'll go on, 1 will go here, so maybe you can see right here for the intake manifold, and then 1 band will go here that's on the cylinder head. Now, along with that, I went ahead and I picked up a couple of manifold adapter O-rings, and what that'll do is fill the gap of the cylinder head and give us a little extra room to get this band on the cylinder head in this piece. So with that being said, I'm going to set up the camera, and we're going to see if I can get this on and pressure test it and see if it works. So I'm going to reset the camera up, and we'll catch you in a couple. All right, so I'm set up here. You can see the damage that was done here. So I'm gonna kind of touch up this to where I can get this ring on so it's flat, so I have a better chance of sealing. So I'm gonna touch this up. This is an aluminum intake. And you can see that I did put a rag in the cylinder head so that I would not get any of this metal particles, you know, into the top of the piston. And so I'm going to go ahead, and there's another pretty good ding on the bottom side that I'm going to, matter of fact, I'll take that out and I'll feel that. And because I can, now all these chips will drop, you know, I'll just not worried about having the rag in there right now. Wipe that off, blow that out. Then I'll take the seal and I'll pop that on there. Let's see. Yeah, that seals a lot better. So what that's doing is filling the gap that the O-ring, that O-ring would have fit in between here and this part, and then that's what sealed it. So now that we're going with these clamps, we're going to try this setup out. That's what that's for. So I am happy with that. This side is pretty clean. Now what I do want to do is I'm going to take a nice clean rag, as clean as I have around here, and this has some acetone on it. It's still wet. I'm going to just take the oil off that I just put on there for my fingers. This one I've already cleaned up. And this one will probably want to fall off of there, and it is, because it's not, it isn't dinged. So here's our manifold. And when I put that on, I do want to keep an eye on the orientation of where the carburetor bolts on. If you're looking at the carburetor and you bolt the carburetor on, which is the opposite side, we want these smaller bolts at the top. So when I turn this around, I'm going to actually fit that in like this. And I'm not sure, I might push this in from the other side if I can get it through. And this might be who knows, this might be a 5-man job. Well, this is the first time I've ever tried it. I haven't dry fit anything, and I can tell you right now, I can't get it through from that side. So what I'm going to do, instead of wasting your time, I'm going to kind of find the easiest way to get that on. They claim to put it on the manifold first, and we'll see if we can get that slipped back in there without losing all the pieces. And we'll come back. I'll let you know what I did. All right. Well, I had a chance to mess with it a little bit. And this is the conglomeration I have. I have both of my pieces on there. I took this. I've got small holes so that when I turn it on, they're up top. I put these clamps on so that when I spin it around, I can tighten them from this side. And what I did was I put this section in first, which is where the gasket's pulled back away, so I can get it fit in between there. Okay. And then I went ahead and started to bring this back. And I started hitting the fins of the cylinder right there. So what I had to do was just kind of muscle this up and pop it through like that. And that's it. So Now I'm gonna do my best to slide these rubber pieces of tube onto the actual engine. And I'm going to probably grab a screwdriver and probably assist in this a little bit. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Try to get those on, and I'll be right back. So, at least you know this is real world stuff, right? So I was able to kind of grab the back and kind of push it up and on. I don't know if I'll be able to do that and let you see it, but there it is. There it is. So what I do know is I do know that I have the plastic piece in, and so I'm going to go I also know that that rim is back. You can see really not prepared. If I go back in here, you can see I'm every bit about that far back before I hit the hub that I want to band up against. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that when I get these on, and I'll get these all underneath like that. Spin these around to where I want them. Okay, and I'm going to start to tighten them up. And what I will do is I will keep this back about that far so that I want to be on the flat of that and clear up against this edge on this side, just to clamp up against them. Now, the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I level, plumb, let's say, the plate of that so that my carburetor is not hanging down or hanging up. So I want to make sure my carburetor's plumb. And then once I bolt the carburetor on, they suggest, hey, use a carb bracket, which it came with, to support the weight of the carburetor so it's not hanging off of these rubber bands. So I'm going to go ahead and get these set up, and I'm going to snug those up. And one of the things that they said that I've done in the past is over tighten stainless steel bands like all the time. Used to over tighten them, and you don't want to do that. So I can always go a little tighter. So I'm going to snug them up. Once I snug them up, level this out, plumb the face of that up, I'm going to go ahead and put this, and I did have to take, I had to take my plate that I made to pressure test it off because it was hanging over a little bit, and that's what was hitting my fins. So with that being said, I'm going to get that on, and we'll come back once I have it all on there for you, and go from there. All right, I'm on the other side of this manifold now where the carburetor's going to bolt in. Like I said, I have my two short screws at the top, so I don't have to take it out and redo it again. But I want to make sure that this is plumb so that the carburetor is not tilted up or tilted down. So the first thing you have to do is make sure the bike is straight on the stand, right? So I made sure the bike is straight on this table, and then I was trying to find a string with a little weight that I could hang off of this edge and let that weight hang down in here, and adjust that until the bottom of the string just touches this. That's one way I can do it with a plumb bob. I couldn't find a string. So for the older people, you all know who MacGyver is. For the young pups out there, MacGyver was a guy that fixed stuff with like bubble gum and shoestrings and anything else he could find. Bottom line is he just found something to make it work to get where he needed to go. So I had a 6-inch torpedo level, and I went ahead and was able to get this in and get this flat. It does not matter if I'm like this or this. What matters is this direction. And I want to line this bubble up right in between those two lines. So I did this, but I couldn't see. So I took a mirror and my light, and I don't know if you can see that because I'm not at your angle. If you can, great. If you can't, you get the gist. So, and I made sure that that was in the middle. It's about as good as I can do. So that's this side. We're going to go back over to the other side. All right, and with MacGyver, you're going to find out that you're going to have to MacGyver a lot of stuff when it comes to old bikes or anything else you're working on in your house and things of that nature. You just have to kind of figure it out. It doesn't mean necessarily to rig it to where it's not right. It just means there's more than one way to get to the end zone. So some of the times you have to take what you have and go for the end zone. So my second band is like, okay, where do I want to be? Because I know I want to be on the flat of this manifold. So what I did is I grabbed a file, I stuck it in here until I hit the end, the manifold, and I'll try to hold where you can see. And then I took a pencil and I marked that. So I know that I am, let's see, maybe I'll put this back behind. That pencil mark is how deep I am. That band has to be at least that deep before it touches that flat. So what I'm going to do is that's about maybe 3/8 of an inch. So I'm going to look at my band and I'm going to say, okay, for me to get 3/8 of an inch, or what I think is 3/8 of an inch, you can see where you can see that mark. If you can see it, I mean, it's dead on right to the edge of this. So I do not want to clamp this thing out into here, or I'm not going to bite down on that flat. So, and I can't, because of the roundness of this screw and the housing that the screw goes into, I can't set it like that or I'm going to have a gap here. So I'm going to go ahead and rotate this down a little bit, and I'm going to get that right there to where I'm tight all the way around right up against this band. And I'm going to snug it up. First, I'm going to get this one on. I'm going to go, little bit at a time so that we get it. Matter of fact, I'm probably going to loosen this one up again until I get them all and snug them all down at once, evenly. So I'm going to do that, and I'll be back. All right. So I've got the plate in the front plumbed. I have this back far enough, and I put this where this one was, and I have both of the bands on the inside of this band. It's longer, so I wanted to make sure it wasn't, it's underneath this band. The extra piece I made sure is under this part. They're pretty straight. I did not over tighten them, so what's over tighten? I don't know. I didn't get crazy. I just kind of snugged them up. I can always go a little tighter when I pressure test it, and we're gonna go from there. We're gonna see what happens. Hopefully, I don't know. I'd like to think that I have a good feeling about this, but I don't have a clue. I know that some of the times they're real bare to get to seal. It's a little bit on the cheesy side, I think, maybe. Cheesy might be a good word for it, or what's another word? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Hopefully it'll be good. I'm going to put the plate on the other side, tighten it up, and we'll we'll put a little bit of pressure against it and we'll soap bubble it, and hopefully it blows no bubbles. How about janky? That was the word I was looking for, janky. If y'all think this is janky, you let me know. And if anybody has any experience with these things, please chime in. I'm curious if anybody else has tried this, and we'll go from there. All right. Well, if you didn't see the previous videos that were about this manifold leak, you can go into our playlist and look up 61 Panhead, and I have everything in order, from clutch plates, carburetor rebuild, adjusting the valves, putting new tappets in, and you can see on the Manifold 1 how we found the leak, how we set the air compressor up. So check that out. It's got the same setup. I have my hose, 1/4-inch hose hooked up to the plate. I did already test this, and when I did, it was leaking like a sieve. And this over here is our regulator, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to gradually twist this, and I'm going to put about 10 pounds of pressure on that intake cylinders. And I do have a leak on the actual plate right here, but I'm not concerned about that. What I want to see is, am I leaking around the inside of this band that I put on, the inside, outside of these two bands. So when I sprayed it down at first, I could hear it. So I didn't know how tight was too tight on the bands, so I snugged the bands up until it stopped. And right now, we'll get in and we'll all right. So what I did is squirt come on, we'll get this thing primed. Yeah, it worked just a second ago. And I'm going to go to, let's see here, that's off, that's on. I'm thinking that this thing fell. Okay. Well, bear with me. We'll get it. We'll get it. If not, we'll get another spray container. There we go. Okay, so, and I just kind of got it all on the inside on the back here, and then we'll come around the front. And I'm looking for any big bubbles. I'm looking for any bubbles at all. I'm also looking for what's called cocooning. And if you've ever seen it, it's like a spitball or a cocoon. Small little bubbles. We'll do this as I'm coming in. And I also looked, down below. You can take a flashlight. And look. And I don't have any leaks. So I'm going to say, for now, I'm going to say successful. Pretty cool. They were actually pretty easy to put in, and right now I don't have any leaks. And I would say, without knowing, I mean, they're not killer tight, but they're snug. Probably as much as 2 fingers can tighten them. Yeah, maybe not quite that much, but nevertheless, I'm really happy. So that's a good sign. So there you go. We are one more step closer to having this thing, see if we can get it started and on the road. So with that being said, I'm gonna start taking this apart, and we'll go to the next piece. So that is your manifold. We are finished with this one. Anybody have any questions or comments, please comment. If you've already subscribed, thank you. If you haven't, consider it, and bang on that bell so you know the next time I make fun of my fat bastard Buddy Jones. And we'll catch you at a later date. Ride safe.